So, 5 senior Rotax heats down. Now we go to heat 6, groups B and E. Let's have a look at your starting group. So, on the front row will be Archie Walker and Lewis Gilbert. Laurent Legault and Devian Horst will be on row 2. Yannick Stiek and Colin Vajny, row 3. Tommy van der Soys and Vic Stevens, row 4, with Archie Button and Alberto Hurtado rounding out the top 10. Then, from that aspect, it will be Archie Buttle, Jens Christensen, Lotus Tveen, Jort van Wijk, Elia Papasena, Mohamed Wali, Hugo Latorre Vega, Jamie Perrelli, Arthur Robin, Kamal Mrad, Er Harun, Andrei Petrovic, Baptiste Schneider, Karl Korenik, Shiraishi Itsumo, Tom Bilou, Tonis Johannes Dominguez, Tristan Koenig, Matteo Pianizzola, Ati Virta, and once again, Gustav Susako starting from the back of the grid. And I see that Mr. Olivertus is supporting Tristan Koenig from Switzerland in the 367. We'll see how he gets on in this one. So we did have a chance in the previous heat to have a double race winner. Could we have one now here in heat number 6? Out of the final corner. Into the tram lines they roll. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out. We are underway first time. Lewis Gilbert stays ahead of the field going into T1. Archie Walker looks to have slipped down probably at least to P3. As Devian Horst now up into second position. Someone's getting a bit brazen around the outside of all people, and that was Yannick Stiek. Inspired move from the youngster from Wunstorf to go round the outside of a place you would never expect here at Karting Campillos. But Gilbert leads the way. It's Devian Horst. Then it's the 366 of Colin Vajny. Archie Walker rounds out the top 4. There are some moves happening. Vic Stevens trying to get himself up the order a little bit. Someone that's struggling as a result. Laurent Legault from Canada has lost at least one position. Maybe even make that a couple. And it's really starting to get a bit fever pitch, so to speak, as drivers making moves. One of the JJ Racing drivers, looks like Jort van Wijk, made a nice little move on Jens Christensen. And now it's really starting to, oh my goodness, Yannick Stiek had to hold on for dear life going through turns 1 and 2 right there. Archie Walker now up into second position, followed by Colin Vajny. So Devian Horst now drops to 4th place ahead of Yannick Stiek. Vic Stevens in 6th place. Hurtado from Spain, Legault from Canada, Van Wijk from the Netherlands, and Christensen rounding out the top 10. Q8's Mohamed Wali is doing a great job in the 399, currently sitting in 11th position on the Praga chassis. Closing in on now, well, has been passed by Jamie Perrelli, the number 392 running with Strawberry Racing. A little bit of side-by-side action happening a little bit further back, probably towards outside of the top 15. And some lunges and then some going into the final right-hand hairpin at turn 16, but the train is being led by Lewis Gilbert. Now the race really begins. Devian Horst up the inside of Colin Vajny through turn 1, and I think Yannick Stiek also made it through. Yes, he did. And now it's all starting to get very, very hairy indeed. There are switchbacks aplenty. And now the lead has changed because Archie Walker, who was in contention for the Wintercup crown last year, now gets ahead of Lewis Gilbert. There's definitely a fire in the belly for the 391 from KR Sport, but he's got the pride of Scotland right on his back bumper. Russ is not that far away either. Neither is Stiak. Vic Stevens now looks to be in 5th position. But there has been, well, there's a bit of a send and then some. That was by Legore, I think, from Canada, who got through on Stevens. And that is the case. Well, that was Vajny, actually, that got through on Stevens. So Tommy van der Soijs, unfortunately, well, didn't even make it past lap 1. So Tommy van der Soijs did a great job in his first heat. His second heat has been an absolute disaster for the youngster from The Hague in the Netherlands. But now it is changing again. Gilbert now has reasserted himself as the de facto leader of this race. Walker in second. Stiek at the back of this 4-cart train. As Devian Rus now looks to set it up the inside through turn 12. Archie Walker keeps it pinned to the outside and still gets the racing line going into the next right-hander. That is what you want. You want close quarter, clean, hard but fair racing. Yannick Stiek trying to do the undercut on Devian Rus going through turn 16. Rus now sends it up the inside of Walker, who still keeps it on the racing line. But here comes Yannick Stiek. Is he going to do the pair of them coming down the start-finish straights? It's 2 wheels nearly on the dusty grass. Stiek is through. Oh, there's a tussle. A touch between Devian Rus and Archie Walker. And the Briton is denied of being in that battle. But there's still 5.5 minutes remaining on the counter, so don't count him out. But Vic Stevens gets through on the 391. That was a major, and I'm going to say the 2 words I don't normally, it was a Code Brown situation right there and then. It could have been so much worse. But 5 minutes and 5 seconds still to go. Lewis Gilbert now is starting to stride away. But that lead over Walker, well, on the previous lap when it was Archie Walker in second position, was nearly 3/4 of a second. I would probably mitigate the fact that it might be closer to a second by the end of this lap. As Yannick Stiek, now the 339 from Germany, finds himself in second position. And it is just over a second that separates the 2 Kraft Motorsport drivers. Archie Buttle, unfortunately, looks to be retiring as well on lap number 3. The 322 from KR Sport no longer taking any further participation. I don't think we're done quite yet, folks, because there's still plenty of time. 4 minutes still to go in this race, plus an additional lap. That's 5 minutes of racing. And Archie Walker, after that slight drama, has gathered himself back up, dusted himself off, and is now chasing those in front. And now he's closing in on Vic Stevens for 4th place as they go through the right-hander at turn 1. Now into 2. Little bump on the curbs for Walker. Now he's going to wait for his opportunity to close on in to the 369 from Belgium for Dams Racing. Lewis Gilbert's lead over Yannick Stiek now extends to nearly 9/10 of a second. On to lap number 7 of this race. A bit further behind, there are some battles happening, including with the 323 of Canada's Laurent Legault, battling away with the likes of possibly Arthur Robin from France, maybe even Jens Christensen and Hugo La Torre Vega from Spain. Gilbert gets his head down on the start-finish straight. 2.5 minutes to go. Lead now 8.3 tenths of a second. And the top 10 covered by just a shade over 5.7 seconds. Top 21 covered by 8.8. They do say never, well, they do sometimes intonate the words never say never. But sometimes you can go to battle for a race win in the heats, but sometimes you have to let that slide in order to get yourself into a prime position, particularly in the ranking after heats. These 75 plus drivers are battling to get automatically through to the top 30 for tomorrow's pre-final and final. But then the remainder of the field, possibly 36 of them, will be battling, and there's a 5-second penalty coming to the way of one driver. Trying to make out who that is. And that is for the 317. And that's Arthur Robin in 10th position, who's just been given a 5-second time penalty, waiting to have clarification on what that will be, as we have 60 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap still to go in Heat 6, Groups B versus E here in Senior Rotax. So we're now going to head on to the penultimate lap of this race. 25 seconds remain. Gap between Gilbert and Stiak now drops to half a second. A little bit further back, there is some fighting going on with Hugo Latorre Vega and Laurent Legault. That is going to be effectively for 10th position. Archie Walker now trying to get through. Right, the 317, Arthur Robin gets a 5-second time penalty, just had it confirmed for pushing. The timer, in the meantime, has expired in this race. So Lewis Gilbert controlling the race in the way he sees fit, not putting a foot wrong, not clipping a curb excessively, powering out of the corners when required at the right time, as now we get the last lap board. Lead between first and second was half a second, it's now 3.5 tenths. Janis Stiak is the one that holds the fastest lap of this race, 1 minute 3.185. It's not that far behind his Scottish teammate, who also has a nice little bit of the Scottish Saltire representation on the shoulder parts of the race suits he now wears. So just a handful more corners to go. Could be very, very close indeed. If Archie Walker wants to get past Vic Stevens, he's going to have to launch it up the inside of turn 16 or try and get the undercut, which he is trying to attempt. But we now head to the checkered flag, and it is going to be 2 wins for Lewis Gilbert here today. So he becomes the first driver out of 76 to take 2 heat victories here at Karting Campillos at the 2023 Rotax Max Challenge Euro Winter Cup. Winning by 0.171 ahead of Janis Stiak. Devian Rust rounding out the top 3 with Vic Stevens and Archie Walker completing the top 5. Walker was in clear competition for the race victory, but ended up rounding out the top 5 ahead of teammate from KR Sport, Colin Vajny. Another solid performance for ALC Motorsports Alberto Hurtado from Spain. Jamie Perley in 8th. Jens Christensen will be 9th. Hugo Latorre Vega will be promoted to 10th position for the penalty that has just been applied to Arthur Robin, who drops to 23rd. Laurent Legault from Canada, Lotus Tween from Denmark, Jod van Wijk, Andrei Petrovic and Mohamed Wali running at the top 15. Matteo Pianezzola, Elia Papasina, Baptiste Schneider, Erharun, Tom Bilou, Kor Korenik, Gustav Yusakovs finishing in 22nd. Robin demoted to 23rd ahead of Domingas, Virta, Itsumo, Mrad and Koning running at the 28th they finished. Archie Buttle retiring on lap 3 and Tommy van der Sluis not even making it to the end of the first lap itself. So, heat number 6 out of 10 really provided a dynamite, explosive affair with multiple drivers in close competition for the racing itself. And it was Walker and Gilbert on the front row that would kick things off into a story that would unfold before our very eyes. And what a story it was. Everyone threading the eye of the needle and Lewis Gilbert managing to keep ahead of everybody else, with Devian Ross looking to challenge early, with Archie Walker trying to make best his intentions. This was the move between Lewis Gilbert and Devian Ross, with Archie Walker getting his elbows out, giving an assist to Gilbert, and thereby going through into T1. And with that, Colin Vajny also decided to make his presence felt. Walker would then take the lead a few laps later, and managing to get through where it was nearly 3 abreast between Rust, Stiak and Vajny. Gilbert and Walker would tussle and battle away for the race victory. But however, with Janis Stiak close following both the likes of Rust and Walker, it was this moment that really changed Archie Walker's race, as a bump on the curbs, a touch between Walker and Devian Ross put the 391 wide, and he would have to settle for 5th at the flag. More racing up and down the order, including the 323 of Laurent Legault from Canada and the 360 of Hugo Latorre Vega. But it was Lewis Gilbert who became the first double victor of the event so far.